Let's start, though, with your boys. Because we got a lot of Georgia football fans in the audience here.
Mm-hmm.
You obviously know this team inside and out. This entire year, I had to listen to you mention when A.D. Mitchell gets back, when A.D. Mitchell gets back. And then to your credit, Aaron, when he got back, he was awesome. One of the key pieces about the semifinal and championship game, and he's gone. As now it's not injury that sees him out, but the allure of Texas in that deep, deep, deep checkbook as A.D. Mitchell has chosen to leave the back-to-back national championship Georgia Bulldogs and take his talents to Austin. How you feeling?
Oh, I feel awful. I'm not gonna lie. It's not what I want to hear. The other day, I've been just trying to pump the receivers for Georgia now for a few years, and it's been the one. To me, it's been the one area it's been the least consistent. You know, running backs have been great. It's RBU. Quarterbacks have been really, really good. Tight ends have been tremendous. Offensive line's been great. The defense at all three levels have been great. It's been the receivers. I mean, the receivers have been the one that have been hit or miss. You know, either they're playing well or they're playing bad. And then every now and then they'll sprinkle in a great game. And, you know, part of it I've talked about on the show before is the fact that, you know, Todd Monken finds unique ways for his offense to work, whether it's to the tight ends, to the running backs. It doesn't have to live through the receivers. But as a fan, you want to see big time plays. You want to see these receivers catch a slant like LSU or Alabama and take it for 70 yards. Like, that's awesome. That's exciting. Those are the explosive plays that can change a game, that can turn you from a really, really good offense to one of the elite offenses. And the way AD played last season, so the first national championship run in the postseason, gained a lot of confidence. I talked to a lot of the coaches on that facility and on that staff, and man, they're just talking about how good he is, how athletic he is, how you see him in person and you're like, oh my gosh, like that guy's ready to play on Sundays right now, and then gets hurt, doesn't play the majority of the season. But like I said, when he's back and he's on the field, he's a difference maker, and he was a difference maker both in the first round of the playoffs and in the national championship. So all of a sudden, I'm pumped. If I'm a Georgia fan, I'm saying, okay, if we can just keep fingers crossed, AD healthy, McConkey's coming back, Bowers is back, Ra Thomas from Mississippi State, you got Lovett there from Missouri. This offense with Carson Beck, who's more of a pocket quarterback, who I think is going to be the guy, this offense could be possibly the most explosive offense in the SEC next year. And then now AD leaves. Ra Thomas just got arrested over the weekend. You're kind of like, oh God, like once again, issues at the receiving spot for Georgia. They just can't get it right. They just can't. Who knows what's going to happen with Ra and as they go through that whole legal process, but you do lose, I would say, your premier receiver when healthy in AD Mitchell. I mean, you're hearing reports of he's from Texas. He has a daughter there. I've heard that he's getting paid $500,000 to go to Texas, and Georgia just couldn't offer that. So a lot of that, but I want to see good receiver play. And it looks like, again, next year, Georgia is going to be okay to good and may just miss out being elite again.
Look, excuse me if I don't feel too bad for the Georgia Bulldogs, Aaron. Y'all went into Como and took the only good piece that Missouri had on that offense. Dominic Lovett is a receiver that somehow in a Missouri offense that had nothing resembling competent quarterback play, Dominic Lovett in the SEC still managed to have 56 catches for 846 and 3 touchdowns. I mean, almost 1,000-yard receiver on this Mizzou team. And what did Georgia do? Oh, Mizzou, that's a nice piece. That's cute. Oh, yeah, we'll take that. That's ours now. Okay. It goes around and comes around. Nobody feels bad for you or A.D. Mitchell leaving. I feel bad for A.D. Mitchell because now he's got to go play for that fraud Sark, right? And he's got to go fail. But you know what? I don't think these Texas players care, dude. I think they probably don't mind failing because they're making sick money in like one of the greatest cities to live in the country if you got great money. So, A.D. Mitchell got the ring, and now it's time to line the pockets a little bit.
2 rings.
And that's what I'm saying. And that's something that's kind of fascinating that we have never seen
surprised
before. In the past, think about it, Aaron. In the past, like the championship was the end all be all, right? In pursuit of a championship, you probably positioned yourself to be able to maybe make the NFL, and that's where the money would come in. Now it's interesting. You'll have guys where it's like, okay, I've already accomplished all the team goals that I could want. Who wants to pay? and then you just go make money. And that's a great feeling for AD Mitchell. Like, hell yes, dude. He has it all. He's got 2 rings, and now he's got the bag.
Well, you talk about, Georgia, boohoo Georgia, they're just going around stealing other people's, top guys. But I mean, this is back-to-back years where Georgia's lost their top receiver. And Jermaine Byrne, let's not forget, Jermaine Byrne a year ago left Georgia to go to Alabama. Young receiver, talented receiver. Same thing, won his national championship. I don't think it was a money thing. I think it was more of, hey, who am I going to bet on? Am I going to bet on Bryce Young, or am I going to bet on Stetson Bennett to go win back-to-back national championships? Obviously, he messed up. He made the wrong decision. Nothing against Bryce, but just more winning a championship. AD's 1-2. AD wants to go back to Texas. AD, I've been told, is, like I said, going to make more money than what Georgia could have offered him, which to me, that's more the question mark. I'm surprised because Georgia does a really good job when it comes to their collective, when it comes to opportunities to make money. So I'm a little bit worried that these kids are leaving because they think they can go get paid somewhere else. And because that's a problem every institution is going to face right now. It's like, you have to fully buy in as a fan base, as a collective, as a university, as a donor. This is the new way, man. Like for a long time, the route was, can we build the best facilities? Can we have the best facilities so that when a player walks on, they can say, oh my gosh, this place will get me ready for the NFL. That's now on the back end. And if you didn't have those facilities, your team started to fall behind. Now, all of a sudden, it's you better buy into this whole NIL world as a collective fan-based university, donor, all that, or you will fall behind. I don't think Georgia's like way behind by any means. I think Georgia's actually doing pretty good.
Hell no,
but the fact
Georgia's
that Texas
not
could scoop them in.
Shut up.
No, but
No,
Texas
no.
just scooped their best receiver. So yes, they are behind. They're behind Texas. They're behind Texas.
Is that a world where Georgia's just didn't view it as needed to keep those resources, like to match those resources?
I'm sure they see it needed after Ra just got arrested. They're probably like, oh damn, maybe we should open that bag a little bit more for AD Mitchell.
Well, let's see what happens with Ra first off, but also secondly, like who needs AD Mitchell when you got Ladd McConkey? I mean, that is kind of the great, but like, I know I'm joking, but like that is kind of the great absurdity about Georgia, right? Is the team is so good that you can have a guy like Ladd out there, and he's like been great because you're having to commit to stop like Bowers and all these other players. So if I'm like sitting there and I'm doing the NIL math and I'm UGA, and while teams don't have a salary cap, they have a finite amount of resources to spend. And I got Dominic Lovett coming in and I can, and of course, whatever like stellar freshman class Georgia has, like I can understand being like, you know what? I don't think we should pay AD Mitchell $500,000. Like, is he a great player? Yes. Does he make us better? Yes. Did he have a huge impact in the playoffs? Yes. But is he replaceable? And I think that Georgia would actually answer that with yes. And so I don't think this is a case of Georgia getting outbid. I think it's a case of Georgia being not willing or not outbid due to lack of finances, maybe getting outbid because they just didn't view his value for them the same way that Texas viewed it for them. Because look, Texas needs it. They need to give Quinn Ewers, Arch, whoever wins the job, they need to try, and Sark has pressure on him this year. Like they need to give themselves no excuses for why it does not work, and getting AD Mitchell is a step towards that.
4 touchdowns in 4 playoff games. 4 of the biggest games of his career, AD Mitchell scored a touchdown in each one of those games. So
I disagree when you say that, like playoff stats.
Let me give you Ladd's playoff stats. All right, we'll go to Ladd's playoff stats.
McConkey's playoff stats.
I will give you.
Or here, you keep talking. You disagree with me. I'll look them up. You keep talking about them.
All right, you look it up. That's your point. So I disagree. Like, yes, 4 touchdowns in 4 of the biggest games in Georgia's history. Why do we praise Stetson so much? We praise Stetson because in those big time moments, Stetson showed up and played his best football. AD in those big time games went out there and found a way to get in the end zone and make plays, even though he's missed 90% of the season this year. Whatever. He showed up for the playoffs. He had an impact. So to me, if you're going to want to win those games consistently, if you're going to want to win championships, because Georgia's going to get there. There's no doubt in my mind that like Georgia over the next 5 to 10 years is going to consistently be one of the top 4 teams, and especially when they go to 12, they're going to be in the playoffs. There's a difference between being in the playoffs and then winning a national championship. And AD's had some of the biggest catches in Georgia history over the past 2 years. The the circus route touchdown versus Ohio State, which was a tremendous route and throw by Stetson Bennett that won in the football game to send them to the championship. And then the touchdown versus Alabama to win the national championship. So he finds a way to make plays when they're needed to win the ultimate prize. And without getting entire season to get reps and chemistry with Stetson. So I think it's a hit for them. I think it's a pretty big hit to a guy that I think is when healthy is the best receiver on Georgia's roster.
Well, yeah, it looks like Ladd McConkey really doesn't have anything to write home about, except for this national championship game against TCU, where he was excellent.
Yeah,
5 catches, 88 yards, 2 touchdowns. Yeah. But to your point, outside of that, no, he had a really good game against Oregon this year and Tennessee, which were both very big games.
I love Ladd. I love Ladd.
I still maintain. I certainly see what you're saying. I still maintain that on the grand scheme of Georgia and its roster makeup right now, I don't know that I would commit $500K to AD Mitchell. I think you have enough bodies back there that can give you essentially the same thing, or at least look. AD didn't want to eat off the floor anymore.
I want to commit $500K to anyone. I think this whole college football landscape is bonkers right now. Bonkers. These guys are getting paid.
Yeah, tell them.
What a
look at those fucking clouds out there. Get him, Aaron Murray. Yell at him.
It is. It's stupid. This whole NIL paying kids $1 million or $500,000 to go to university is such a waste of resources. And what do we learn from the college football over the past 10 years? That is a bunch of wasteful people, from the university and all these coaching contracts where they're paying millions of dollars for buyouts to now donors paying millions of dollars for, an 18-year-old kid who's never stepped foot on a college football field before, to $500,000 to a guy who just missed the entire season last year for the Georgia Bulldogs. Like, that is just the amount of money is, I get it. Good for them. Congratulations. Go make your money. I just think it's fucking stupid. I think it's wasteful.
No, nobody's upset with the players.
Wasteful.
I'm
not. I'm good for the players.
There's a conversation to be had about financial responsibility, certainly. And I've always find it never fails to put a smile on my face, a bit of the delicious irony that many of the people making these arguably reckless financial decisions are like very successful businessmen, right? Who in other aspects of their life are very worried about investment and return on investment and all these other sorts of economic factors. But when it comes to football, they're like, we need 70 million so that our football ops can have a full barbershop. Oh, let's do it, dude. Let's put a slide in that thing. Why not? And now it's just, let's pay this high school kid who's never paid $13 million. So AD Mitchell to Texas.
I don't know how to solve it. I really don't know.
Hold on.
Oh, all right. That's the one thing I love about the NFL. Like, we get pampered in college. Like, you have this incredible, like, a lot of people don't realize this, but like, college facilities are way better than NFL facilities.
Yeah.
Because I showed up to Kansas City, and I'm not saying like it's a bad facility at all, but like it has nothing on Georgia. I mean, nothing on Georgia. It's like
you know what it minimum. Is. You know what it is? It's
amazing. Like, we have
it's a butt smear, not a butt smear, and that's the difference right there.
That's so stupid.
I'm sorry,
that was not your best one. It's just the amount of resources that have to be put in at the end of the day to kiss the ass of a 16 to 18-year-old kid it's quite comical. Like, these billion-dollar owners of these NFL franchises, like, some of them are really nice. Like, some facilities are Dallas has a great facility. I've been to the Jets; they have a really nice facility. Philly's pretty good, but none of them, once again, none of them or anywhere in the same world besides maybe Dallas to what I would say the top 15 universities when it comes to college football have. Not even close. Nothing.
You know
even
why?
Close to it.
Because
it's all because of catering. It's all catering to 16 to 18-year-old kids. They are racking in hundreds of millions of dollars to impress 16 to 18-year-old kids.
Yeah. I mean, it's like you said, wasteful spending. Like, in the NFL, it's going to be more about, okay, what do we need to build to allow us to compete? Where for many, many years in college, it's been, we need to build this to overawe, right? To literally cause awe in this person where they're like, oh my God, what is this? Like, I need to
100
come in here.
squat
This is
racks.
insane.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
yeah, exactly.
Why do you
Like,
need
nobody
100
needs that many
squat racks?
racks.
Well, yeah.
So all 100 players can squat at a time, Aaron, you dumbass. Hello. Yeah,
Yeah.
no. It's a talent thing. But whatever. It's look, we're just old men. Okay. On the football field, it's a hit to Georgia. What does this do for Texas? And then we'll move on. Like, are you going to sit here and tell me that Texas is suddenly going to win the Big 12 now?
I think TCU's actually made bigger moves in the offseason when it comes to the transfer portal than Texas has. TCU's done a great job of getting some top guys from LSU, from Alabama, other spots as well. To me, the only way Texas takes their game and possibly wins that conference next year is if Quinn Ewers plays the way he did the first 4 games of the season, which he played before he just went to absolute crap. Like, if he can get that juice back in him, if the arrival of Manning all of a sudden elevates his game and he's in the film room and he's in the locker room and he's out there doing one-on-ones and routes on air with his receivers, if he takes his game to that next level, then yes, to me, Texas would be the favorite to win the conference next year. But if he doesn't, and if he's the guy that we saw the second half of the season, I'm not gonna say right now that Arch Manning in his first season is going to lead Texas to a Big 12 championship. I'm not going to put that pressure on a freshman. So it all lies on Ewers. He's good enough to be the best quarterback in that conference. Now he just has to go out there and execute.
Yeah, I think that how I view it is Texas should win the Big 12. But I really felt like Texas and Oklahoma should be winning the Big 12 every year anyway. I mean, Texas, by the time the season starts, Texas will inarguably have the most talented team in the conference. They should win the Big 12. They won't, because I think there's some deep-rooted culture problems. I know we talked about the Eyes of Texas drama during the fall, but I do believe that's kind of indicative of one of the issues. Texas is so in love with the idea of Texas that they sometimes lose focus on what actually matters. I mean, I keep going back to the Kirby Smart thing, the kind of philosophy that he was espousing during the playoffs, which is like, we got guys here who want to eat off the floor. Nobody's eating off the floor at Texas, okay? And it leads to a bit of softness. They can never get it quite done. And I don't think Sark's the guy to change that. I really don't. Maybe I'll be wrong. You know me. I'm a top Sark hater. Maybe I'll be eating crow, but
you didn't see the feistiness when that guy laid his hands on him, T-Bob? That's some energy from the head coach right there.
That's your guy. That's your guy that you're always like, you have to make peace with that being the man who's in charge of the team that you keep betting on. I'm going to be over here. Remember, Aaron, during this season, you told me you were going to get a tattoo that said never trust Texas again. And yet here you are. They're not going to win.
I'm not saying I'm trusting them,
but they're not.
They should. They definitely should win the Big 12. Kansas State will be a good team next year too. Will Howard back at quarterback. Really impressed with how the way he played last season. I think they'll be in it. Oklahoma has their quarterback back too. I do think you will see. You should. I'm not saying will. You should, because they have more talent than anyone else in that conference. I'm with you. It's still mind blowing to me that Oklahoma and Texas were as not as great as they could have been this year. You should see a massive jump for Oklahoma this season with the talent on that roster, with what they have coming back next season, with Dylan committing to come back. You should see a team go from 6-7 to flirting with 10 wins. Just can your coach figure it out?
Yeah. We will see. I don't have any faith. I probably have more faith in Sark than Venables, but I don't have much faith either way. I mean, I definitely have more faith in Sark than Venables, so that gives you an idea how I feel about Brent Venables.